All right. Welcome, everybody. We are live. Just give me a couple seconds. We're going to wait for a few folks to come in. Oh, wow. My phone is actually quite low on battery. Let me actually plug this in real quick. Wow, it's not even plugged in down here either. Give me a brief second. I'm going to test. There we go. All right. Cool. I think that's better. Let me see. There we go. All right. Cool. I think that's better. Let me see. All right. Yeah, Mr. David Pakman. All right, there we go. We'll do this mic. That's how it should be. That's how it should stay. Um, yeah, David Pakman. This guy's been around for quite a while. I actually, I've told this story on stream before, like when it comes to the left coast with Deether McBusiness, which we try to do every Tuesday. David Pakman was one of the channels I sort of frequently kind of watched when I was becoming a lot more progressive and shifting to the left a bit more, as it were. And over time, I obviously fell off. I think a lot of people did when they realized that he's not actually really a lefty at all. Um, he has very inconsistent morals and ethics, and I think that is going to be made a bit more obvious as this video goes on. See my protein shake here. um, yeah, so I could spend like hours taking apart a whole lot of his content, but the gist of it is he he's very much not a leftist. His content's very clickbaity. A lot of it is targets Trump and the Trump administration. And I mean, if we could just like scroll through his content, let me actually pull up the actual page here. See if I can actually share the screen. There we go. Oh wow, I can share other windows now. That's crazy. That's new. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, so that there we go, I guess. Does that work? I'm using a different browser for this, so please bear with me. But if you just take a look at this videos tab here, fucking every other thing, or everything pretty much is about Trump. And they're all the exact same video. Trump is simply incapable of, we have to admit it. And fucking Trump is one sick fuck. This video is Trump is painful to watch. Whoa, Trump press secretary brutally confronted. Okay, this should actually be a lot more. That's so fucked. Here, let's do this. I think that might actually work. Forgive me. We'll just do that. It's just the same shit. I mean, obviously there is a need for something like this. Like there's definitely a lane for this. There's definitely an angle for this type of content. It's definitely needed. It's definitely necessary given the fact that Trump is um been very, very, very destructive in the second term so far. But when it comes to highlighting the authoritarianism and the fascism of Trump and the Trump regime and everybody surrounding Trump, like fucking Pete Hegseth or fucking say the Honan guy, the fucking border czar, whoever the fuck he is. Um, like these are obviously very important things to point out. Obviously, but like every single, it's just all clickbait. Like what is this? Say what? Wow, nothing in the thumbnail. Anyway, David Pakman undermines his credibility even further because there was the chorus thing that a lot of people took issue with. Because if you are a self-proclaimed social democrat, if you if shouldn't that also come with being opposed to bribery or you know um I essentially legalize bribery. You shouldn't be in favor of Citizens United or anything like that. But there's just enough of a gray area. There's enough plausible deniability for him to just weasel his way out of these conversations each time. Because when this whole thing popped off, uh, there's the infamous clip of him going like IPAC, APAC. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that even is. It's just entirely dishonest. And there's been a few other instances here and there that just highlight his dishonesty. Like either he's a useful idiot or he's dishonest, and I think he's dishonest. He this is obviously very lucrative for him. He has 3.65 million subscribers, and he still gets videos that pop off every now and then, like 426,000 views, um, a couple 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, like 400K. There's one that was like recent that was like 650K. So he's doing well for himself. He has a lot of eyes on his content, but he calls himself a progressive. But as I said, we're going to go over a few things that really stick in my craw, as it were. But what really frustrated me was seeing him going after DSA and the wins that the DSA is actually handing Democrats right now. I put out a short yesterday. If you guys haven't seen it, I guess we can watch that first just to get like a gist, like an overall view of the main issue here. So I guess we'll just go over. And like, what happens when that dries up? Like, if Trump is finally gone, like, what is he going to post? What is his content going to be? Is it gonna be like he's gonna get like a lucrative job and for some Democrat or something? Like, what is it? Yeah, this is like the crux of the issue, and we're gonna go over this a bit more when we respond to his video. Well, obviously that's Richie Torres and Gavin Newsom, right? David Pakman has no issue talking to those two. Yeah. All right, hold on 1 second. We'll do this, I suppose. All right. Apologies. All right, so this is the video that really set me off. I came across this video um recently via the Vanguard and Secular Talk, and there's just so much I have to say. So much I have to say. And this isn't this is only the first one too. And I think when we come back for when it comes to um the left coast, when me and Dieter um do our show on Tuesday, we're going to discuss this a little bit more at length as well. So let's see what David Pakman has to say about the newfound energy in the Democratic Party. Oh my God. Hold on. You're kidding me. Oh my God. Hold on. This whole time, this whole fucking time. You're like, kidding me. Oh my God. Son of a fucking bitch. Ha- No audio from this tab at all? What? It's fucking. Oh, it's beautiful. I love how just like nothing ever fucking works out the way it should. It's great. Okay, so how the fuck do I. Jesus Christ. What? For fuck's sake. It's not one thing, it's a fucking other, isn't it? How about share tab? Why can't we just do that? Why? 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 What? My God, this is fucking ridiculous. Nothing. Oh my God. There's got to be something. Why can why is this not I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Okay, what about this? Can we do this? Does that work? Fuck me, dude. You're kidding me. Why is there no fucking audio coming out of what the fuck? Where's the fucking audio? What? How? Oh my God, dude. I'm about to get so fucking pissed. Okay, what? Can we do it now? Okay, so of course. Okay, how about now? Okay, so motherfucker, dude. Okay. Yeah, like is it only Chrome tab? Is it
Tomorrow,
only fucking
Sunday,
Chrome
July
where
26th.
fucking StreamYard actually works? Is that the problem? Wow. Fuck Google, dude. God damn it. Okay. I guess yeah, let's just start from the fucking goddamn beginning, I guess. All right, so God, what a waste of fucking time. Like anyone even fucking cares to begin with. So, okay, David Pakman. This is the video I put out yesterday. I put out a little short. Um, put out a short on my channel after discovering this just bullshit that he was spewing about the DSA and whatnot, and it really it checks out for him and everything. Let's just watch this real quick. And actually, now that you actually have the fucking audio.
Hey everybody, hope you're staying cool out there. Today is Saturday, July 25th, 2026. And I think I'll be going live tomorrow, Sunday, July 26th.
Here we are.
So I need to touch upon a very prominent liberal YouTuber, self-proclaimed social democrat, one Mr. David Pakman. Now, he actually recently put out a video that was very critical of the DSA, but there's just like no substance to it, like whatsoever. And
What a miracle!
it's very interesting to me because, especially in recent years, and especially during this second Trump term, his content has been very clickbaity and rightfully critical of the Trump administration in a variety of ways, which is, good. Like, there needs to be more of that. Like, there's honestly not enough being said about how much damage and harm he's doing to the country. But it's to an absurd degree sometimes. It's like Trump is over. Like, this is the final nail. Like they or Trump administration official destroyed. Just that kind of low tier, low effort crap. But if David Pakman's thing, if his whole motivation and all his content centers around the dangers of Trump and the dangers of the Trump administration and their authoritarianism and fascism, why in the fuck would he, as a giant supporter of the Democratic Party, like huge Democrat, undermine or throw cold water on the momentum of the DSA and the victories that the Democratic Socialists of America have been achieving?
Yeah, like I said before, when the audio was totally fucked. This is like the whole crux of the issue. This is like the main thing that highlights the insincerity of David Pakman as a fucking whole. And we'll get more into that when we cover his video here in a second.
You would think, because the thing is, these are the most like anti-authoritarian candidates that you can get. These are the most these are bringing a lot of energy to the party because the party's freaking dead. Like, who in the party is actually bringing a lot of momentum and energy and fire towards this authoritarian hellscape that we find ourselves in? Yeah, you're going to sit there and like warn about the dangers of these folks instead. Whereas, like, these are the only people bringing hope to the Democrats right now. Yet you're doing the Trump administration's bidding by casting doubt on them.
By punching left, really, he really is like it's just total fucking hypocrisy. Let's go ahead and bring up his channel here, so you see exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, just endless videos about Trump and you know, very clickbaity, brutally confronted. Video Trump is painful to watch. Trump is one sick fuck. Whoops! Did he just end Trump's chances? And it's just like it's just all fucking clickbait. But the video we're going to be covering is this. This one doesn't actually have as much attention as it should. Well, actually, it's probably a good thing to be honest, because of what he says in this fucking clip. It's very much bullshit. But let's take this apart piece by piece, and because he follows us up. This isn't over. A lot of people are not happy with him. I mean, the chorus thing was one thing, but it's just this is a whole nother level.
Watch the whole video, listen to the whole segment before you send me hate mail. You know when it starts that way, it's going to be good. Listen, the Democratic Party is showing the early signs of the same disease that destroyed the Republican Party.
So, right off the bat, his claim is that the Democrats are showing signs of the disease that destroyed the Republican Party. What the fuck is he talking about? The Republican Party that's just steamrolling the entire country right now? The Republican Party that has been completely emboldened the past decade? The Republican Party that has been wildly successful in implementing and achieving their agenda? Like, what exactly is the comparison right here? The comparison is he's trying to frame, and we'll get further into it, but this framing implies that this takeover of the Democratic Party, which I mean it's in its early stages, I suppose you could say, but um it's been in the works for a fucking decade. The Tea Party happened in just a few years. you know so he's trying to frame it in the way that these are equal takeovers, and that the Democratic Party is bound for doom and failure like the Republicans, which is an assessment that is hilarious and um it's misleading. All right, let's continue.
I've got so many friends on the left texting me and saying, David, we're not going to allow the same thing to happen on the left that Trump did to MAGA, that Trump and MAGA did to Republicans, are we? Republicans back in 2010, their leaders laughed at the Tea Party. Conspiracy theorists, they're far-right internet trolls, they're not going to do anything.
And here's the thing, right? Trump and MAGA have done just a number on this country. They have reshaped the Republican Party as it is, without a doubt. But the thing is, the Republican Party is only as successful in implementing its far right and fascistic agenda as Trump allows. To the extent that Trump is at all competent, because he's actually he's obviously an incompetent figure. If it was anybody else who actually had the charisma that he did, but is as effective and likable, because he's historically unpopular, then the Republican Party would be um basically the uniparty at this point. I firmly believe that. I do believe, like, if it wasn't for Trump, like even more of Project 2025, for example, will be implemented. Even though Trump has been molded as this figurehead, just to spearhead this movement, to spearhead this agenda, yet he's actively in the way of a whole lot of it as well, ironically enough.
And then the Tea Party took over local organizations, threatened primaries, built their own media universe, and eventually were part of a process that gave us Donald Trump.
Now, how is that exactly similar to the DSA? The DSA doesn't have a media network. The DSA doesn't have fucking hundreds of millions of dollars in money backing them in their media and in their campaigns and in their races and shit, because they're not backed by the wealthy. The left, by definition, the leftists are not backed by big money. So he's still trying to, like, weave this comparison between the Tea Party of the Republicans and what the DSA is doing to the Democrats, and it's only similar in one thing: changing the makeup of the party. not where those movements actually come from.
The left and Democrats can't make the same mistake. There is a small group of far left extremists gaining influence inside youth groups and party organizations because they spend all day online organizing and enforcing ideological purity and attacking anyone who disagrees. Now, let me be very clear. I am not talking about people who want Medicare for all and
That's the problem. You are
affordable housing. I want all that stuff. I'm with all that stuff.
okay. So then you should support these people who are winning these races who are DSA backed.
I'm a social democrat in the style of Northern Europe. Of course, I want those things. These are folks who treat political warfare like a full-time job.
This was the funniest thing that I when I first heard this, it occurred to me that, oh, well, this just gives the entire game away. That this is it right here. So think about what he's saying right here. Think about what he's saying. Like, these are people who demand ideological purity and treat politics as if it's this full-time job. These people who spend all their time online and um, organizing online. Because, like, for one, where the fuck else are you going to organize? Like, that's that's where everybody is. That's where everybody gets their information and shit. But also, what is with the resentment here? Is it because these DSA backed candidates and whatnot, are they able to champion the message, like the progressive message, as it were, a lot more effectively than the establishment Democrats? Like, it is, because that seems to me, that seems to be, to me at least, the issue. Because you can sit there all you want and whine about, like, the label of democratic socialism and whatnot, and maybe you don't like a couple figures within the movement, but the fact remains, David, that these are the people getting elected. These are the people whose message is resonating with voters. Bernie Sanders, who you supported back in 2016, he's the one that started this political revolution. He's the one that he called himself a democratic socialist. And, like, maybe back then it kind of hurt him. Maybe back then it wasn't exactly um the it probably wasn't the right move politically, but it was normalizing the ideology. Because, I mean, for one, it's like, the movement itself wasn't about Bernie to begin with, and he's never been the guy who is like, oh, this should all be about me, me, Bernie Sanders. And it's not, and that's the point. There are a lot of, like, people who are considered progressives, like Jasmine Crockett, who made their entire campaign about themselves rather than the people who support her, the people um uh who who believe in the issues that she said that she would fight for. You know, it's a lot more than personality and ego, and that's what Bernie represented, an actual movement that championed the ideas, the policies. so he says the people who treat political warfare like a full-time job, it really gives away the game, because he sees politics, ladies and gentlemen, as more of a hobby and a nuisance rather than something that is negatively affecting the lives of millions, fucking hundreds of millions of people every day. But like in this country, like obviously millions upon millions of people, uh, because these are all people who are a lot less privileged than he is. They are not as well off, yet they have a whole bunch of grievances that this modern Democratic Party has still not addressed properly. So of course, like there's resentment here. Let's not get it twisted. Let's get back into it.
And when they can't build their own coalition,
Which
they
have
attach
now.
themselves to popular causes. They take real concerns about healthcare, housing, police misconduct, and use them to sell what is actually an authoritarian worldview.
Now this is this claim is doing a hell of a lot of heavy lifting. I need citations for this, and I don't think he really even provides them. So this is the resentment I was talking about. He is upset that people are using these issues that obviously the voters believe in and voted these people in to accomplish. He's resenting the fact that they're running as Democrats, that they're winning as Democrats. I'm sorry, David, but like, don't we want these ideas to go forward? If they are beating other Democrats in primaries, Democrats who don't champion those things, affordable housing, Medicare for all, etc., etc. What does that say about those establishment-backed Democrats? They're not going to fucking fight for that shit. So, like, you can't have it both ways.
Now, there are things in DSA, for example, Democratic Socialists of America, that are good and that I agree with. But there's also some stuff in there that I think doesn't make any sense. I saw their new platform promises a country where you have no debt.
I know that's you.
You pay no rent, no mortgage. You receive publicly funded housing, publicly funded retirement, food, education. A country where you have no debt. You pay no rent, no mortgage. You receive publicly funded housing, publicly funded retirement, food, education, energy, medicine, transportation. And it sounds incredible because it is incredible. How would they create it? Government ownership of the largest corporations and of entire industries, universal rent control, abolishing police and prisons, and abolishing the Senate and replacing our political.
He's literally just repeating what Mike Johnson said. It's like, okay, wait. So how do these things tie into what he was just saying? Let's run it back just one more time.
You receive publicly funded housing, publicly funded retirement, food, education, energy, medicine, transportation. And it sounds incredible because it is incredible.
Is it though? Is it that incredible?
How would they create it? Government ownership of the largest corporations and of entire industries.
Yeah, which, I mean, public ownership, like democratized means of production, is that so absurd?
Universal rent control, abolishing police and prisons, and abolishing the Senate and replacing our.
Okay, now where the fuck did all of that come from? Now, okay, don't get me wrong. There are a couple of DSA candidates who have they've espoused those beliefs, abolishing the police and prisons and the Senate and whatever, but that's not exactly necessary to achieve all the things that you just listed out. And you're pointing to cherry picked extreme examples, and not to mention These candidates are not being elected for their beliefs on abolishing prisons or the Senate or law enforcement. They're being elected because they're championing Medicare for all and affordable housing at the forefront of their campaigns. They're championing economic populism and the fact that the system is rigged against the working class, the common worker, the working families. Not fucking abolishing the like prisons, dude. Ethereal Heathen, thank you for tuning in. He said in one of his recent videos that he's not for social democracy, but he does not. That is one of his recent videos that he's for social democracy, right? But he does not support democratic socialism. Is that not the same thing? Any nuances? Thank you for covering this. So the way I see it, the way I would I guess distinguish between the two, and he does it in his own way, is social democracy, like I guess Kyle Kalinske explains, because I think he does it in the best way, is the furthest left you can go while still maintaining capitalism. So heavy regulation and a higher taxation and a stronger social safety net. Um, that's basically the gist of it. Basically, like a kind of a welfare state, I guess you could say. There's so much wealth being created in the United States that nobody should be going hungry. Nobody should be homeless. Nobody should be struggling just to put food on the table or pay their rent or whatever. And social democracies like in the Nordic states, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, they have a lot more regimented economies that make sure that people actually don't go homeless. That's essentially what social democracy is. Democratic socialism goes a step further, and it's basically that all of that, but the means of production and the market, as it were, the free market is a lot more regulated as well. So that way, workers essentially have a bit more say in their in how corporations are ran. The workplace is a lot more democratized, and of course, if you are a capitalist liberal, or I mean, if you're a conservative for that matter, but that goes without saying, of course, you don't support these things because capital rules. Capital is like the uh, fundamental end all be all right now as it stands today, and it's gotten so bad, guys. I I really do believe that we are kind of like at a point of no return when it comes to uh, capitalism and its uh, over financialization of basically everything. I think we've reached a point in human history where the needs of capital have now outweighed humanity's global cooperation and the collective ability of our own self preservation. That's why I support, like, even like if electoralism is going to survive, if democracy is going to survive in any meaningful way, it's important that DSA candidates um, get elected because of these fucking reasons. Now let's continue.
Control, abolishing police and prisons, and abolishing the Senate, and replacing our political system. Some of these ideas are reasonable to a degree. For example, I support universal health care, and I've talked about 4 or 5 ways that we could get to it.
Is Gavin Newsom going to do it for you? Did you ask him about it in your little chit chat with him?
I want affordable housing. And I've done a dozen interviews with housing experts on what would and wouldn't work to get us there. I support progressive taxation. We need to collect more taxes from the very rich.
Good.
Voting rights have been hurt in this country. We need police reform. So there's elements of this that are great.
Now, what about campaign finance reform or immigration reform? Those are a couple big important things as well. A campaign finance reform, especially, is something I really want him to expand on a little bit, because I don't think he has any problem whatsoever with um, Democrats taking bribes from special interests and corporations and super PACs, and I think he has a history of making that clear. But we'll get to a bit more of that.
Great. And any social democrat like me will tell you we got to do that. But you bundle it together, and this fantasy in which capitalism, private industry, and major parts of the government simply disappear, most Americans don't want that. Most
No
Americans.
one's saying that though. Do you actually hear anybody, these DSA backed candidates, or Zoran Mamdani, or fucking even AOC or Bernie? Do you hear them saying these things?
And this fantasy in which capitalism, private industry, and major parts of the government simply disappear, most Americans don't want that.
No one's actually championing that though. This is just fucking dishonesty. Where is this actually coming from?
Most Americans understand that there is no way that you could impose that without extraordinary authoritarianism. My one hesitation about confronting this now, and why I went back and forth, is the midterms. Publicly exposing the rot could make moderate voters think the entire Democratic Party has been infected. But I don't think silence is really going to hide it.
Okay, so exposing the rot, which we agree there is rot within the Democratic Party. So exposing the rot, you think is going to turn people away from the Democrats rather than electing Democrats to replace those rotten Democrats. Because this is, I remember back in 2020, this was like the biggest thing when it came to getting Trump out of office and whatnot. Do we want revolution or do we want reform? Do we think a third party would be the most feasible for this endeavor, or do we think it would just be better to take over the Democratic Party? Most people chose the latter, taking over the Democratic Party and actually getting candidates in there that champion progressive and socialist ideals. Now that that's actually happening, rather than just straight out revolution, oops, rather than straight up like revolution, it's a problem. Like, we're pointing out the rot, we're weeding out the rot, we're we're kicking out multi-year, like several term Democrats who have been there for years and years and years, and replacing them with Democratic socialists that actually champion these progressive ideas, and that's a problem now. Like, let's continue.
I saw a crazy thing from the weekend.
Did
where there was a college Democrats convention, which I was actually invited to participate in, and I couldn't make it. Hassan Piker was dressed like Mao, and I guess Destiny tried to show up, and he was banned from entering allegedly because the Mao dressed Piker didn't want him there.
I mean, it's this right here just goes to show he doesn't actually know what the fuck he's talking about, for one, and two, no, like Sex Pestiny is a known harasser. He was just been there to stir up shit, and this claim that Hassan Piker was responsible for seeing him out, I don't think that's exactly accurate. But imagine going to bat. Like even just like out of context, you don't even know like the full context of the situation. Going to bat for Sex Pestiny.
Republicans are going to put these clips everywhere. Like,
and that's the concern. Here's the thing, David. Here's the thing. Republicans for the longest fucking time have correlated liberals and leftists for the longest fucking time. For you are not beating the commie allegations. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you try to distinguish yourself from the actual left. The Republicans will still consider you to be an irredeemable commie. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. So you continuing to punch to your left what does it actually accomplish? What are you trying to accomplish here? Like, who gives a fuck what the Republicans think, dude? Who gives a fuck what they say?
People seem crazy when they see this stuff, and they are going to abolish the police and abolish borders and abolish prisons and play them on a loop for 6 months.
Who gives a fuck, dude? And again, these candidates did not win because of those things. And if you were an honest actor, if you actually cared about defending the Democratic Party and actually championing these progressive ideas, you would make that clear. These candidates won because of those things that you support: Medicare for all, better education, immigration reform, fucking affordable housing, affordable like a standard of living, the cost of living, getting the cost of living down and shit. But no, you point to these absurdities and these cherry picked extremities, and you apply it to um, the entire DSA, like the DSA in general, and their candidates who continue winning. You're just doing the right job for them. You're doing the job of the Republican Party for them. You're feeding into their propaganda rather than standing for your own goddamn principles, which I'm not even fucking convinced you have any.
If I were an average voter with no knowledge of these online personalities, which most of these people are, most people don't follow this sort of thing. They're busy living their lives and working and doing all this stuff.
Then do your fucking job to educate them. Like I understand. Okay, you play your role, right? You have over 3.6 million subscribers. Your entire thing is look at how absurdly bad the Trump administration is, and it's honestly to a point where it's just like it's all clickbait. So it's like how serious can do you think that you can be taken? Like sure, there's plenty to go off of, but when you approach it in a way that's um like like Trump derangement syndrome or whatever. Like that's how a lot of people who aren't already sympathetic to liberals and Democrats are going to see it. There's a balancing act to this shit, but you can't just sit there and act like a few loonies that you would only that you would uh, like stories and ideas that you would only know about if you were terminally online. You can't act like that's going to be representative of the entire thing. And you can't blame the Republicans for weaponizing that when they were going to fucking do it anyway. They are chomping at the bit for anything to paint the broad left and the Democratic Party as a whole as radical commies. I mean, fuck, it's like even centrist Pete Buttigieg said. It was either him or Beto O'Rourke, I forget. They already call you socialists anyway. Like, so it doesn't fucking matter if you differentiate yourself from leftists. It doesn't matter if you try to make it seem like you're one of the good Democrats. They don't fucking care. So why should you?
If I were an average voter with no knowledge of these online personalities, I would find these images and a lot of this stuff very alarming. So as I said last week, and so many of you agreed with me, Democrats must act now and intelligently. The centrist don't really do anything.
Got that
Make
right.
very milquetoast fringe suggestions that you don't even really push for.
We agree with that.
Not working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no shit.
This other thing of like end everything, it's a sort of destructive accelerationism. That's also not going to work.
Okay, this is the thing, David. Okay, you're listening. You need to bring receipts. You need to make it clear that this is what Democrats are actually voting for, and this is what these DSA-backed candidates are actually championing. Like ending everything. What fucking? Oh God, no more bottled water. No more fucking calling 911. No more mustard. No more fucking street lights, no more stoplights, no more like if we're talking about everything, what exactly are we referring to in particular? Like this is just blatant, genuine dishonesty. It's lazy as fuck, and I'm glad that enough people are not fucking falling for it because it's just so fucking old at this point.
So I think that what we need here are no apologetics for dictatorship, no apologetics for authoritarianism.
But if you really want to trigger the Republicans and just get under their skin, like, isn't that just like, wouldn't it, it's kind of funny, is it not? Like, stop taking it so seriously. Focus on what actually matters. If you agree, if you agree that policy and ideas and championing progressive policies are what matter the most, then don't get caught up in the silly shit, the non-serious shit, dude. Especially if you can't like actually give clear-cut examples and pretend that that's applicable to a broad coalition of leftists that are running in the Democratic Party.
Work. So I think that what we need here are no apologetics for dictatorship, no apologetics for authoritarianism, no harassment, no anti-Semitism, no allowing online factions to decide which liberals may enter the room. You know,
what anti-Semitism? Huh? What anti-Semitism are we referring to, David? By anti-Semitism, do you mean opposing genocide? Hmm? Because that was a big thing. That was a big to do with you and the left broadly, David. Was your tacit support or um, just feigned ignorance of what Israel's been doing to Gaza, and not just the past 3 years, but for its entire history.
Would I even have been allowed at that college Democrats thing? They invited me months ago. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't go, so we didn't find out.
Here's the thing. Why don't you go next time and actually talk to these democratic socialists? Why don't you? You know what? Why don't you talk to Hassan Piker? Like, you don't have to like the guy, but at least he's consistent in his ideals and he doesn't let off the gas. You know, he's like everybody's favorite punching bag, left, right, middle, where like whatever the fuck. Why don't you talk to him? Since the Democrats want to like prop him up to be like the kingmaker and shit. Why can't you? I'm sure he would be delighted to have you on, or for him to go on your show. But would that interfere with your ability to get inroads with other Democrats or party insiders or pundits or mainstream liberal shows or whatever? Would it affect your ability to be like remain in the good graces of all those big money backed people? I can understand like the conflict you must have like that just resonates within you, David. If it came down to either giving Hassan Piker a platform or going on his platform.
So we just need normal people.
I like it. Thank you, River of Peace. A lot to unpack here indeed.
To participate, join local committees, attend conventions.
Attend and join your local DSA. That goes for all of you. I'm slacking. I gotta join mine, but still.
Get involved with state parties and let's turn the DNC into something that works. Many reasonable people doing a little.
You know, David Hogg actually tried that. And he was basically ousted. He he made the head of the DNC cry on a call because he was being shamed for not doing enough. Not even kidding you. Like we actually covered it on the Left Coast Live, which will be streaming Tuesday, by the way, Tuesday evening. It was just like the most pathetic thing I have ever fucking seen. I forget what it was for. It might have been. It might have had to do with the way the DNC handled the Biden transition, or like the transition from him to Kamala Harris, and how Kamala Harris didn't do enough. It might have been regarding Israel Gaza, but I forget it.
Can defeat both the centrist do-nothings and the hardcore extremists who would get nothing done. Republicans believed they were going to control the extreme.
This is like a quintessential, bona fide, word for word DNC establishment shill, fucking elitist talking point. So you can either have, and he's contradicting himself too. Okay, are they like do nothing centrists, or are they not? Are they the ones that actually can get shit done? Because you're saying here, let's run that back a little bit.
Reasonable people doing a little can defeat both the centrist do-nothings and the hardcore extremists who would get nothing done.
Okay, so you're saying that, that there's room in the middle for someone in the middle of the centrist do-nothings and the quote unquote extremists that you like to, label the DSA as for some reason. There's actually a middle faction, like in there, of people who can actually get stuff done. Okay, where do you draw that line? And who are we referring to? Can you give some examples? Oh, I got an example for you. I got a great example for you, Mr. David Pakman. Let's actually bring this up here. I got a fantastic example. Is this who you're referring to? Why am I logged out of this? Let me actually bring this up. This is actually very, very telling. It's actually quite funny. And so if DSA candidates can't actually get anything done, but the do nothing centrists can't get get anything done either. Like, who are we talking about? Are we talking about this guy? Here, let me bring this up here. Are we talking about this guy, Mr. Richie Torres? Come on. Go on, let's play. It can't be played? The hell is that about? Okay, well, he says, David Pakman tells Representative Richie Torres, when people ask me, who do you see right now as the sort of progressive that you like to be at the head of this movement going forward, I think of you. Richie fucking Torres. Richie Torres. The guy who's taken millions from AIPAC to do the bidding of Israel, who has gone to bat for Israel and has justified and defended their extermination of the Gazans, their starving of Gaza, their war crimes, their ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip. Is this the guy you're talking about, David? Oh man, the Democratic Party sure is in good hands after all. You've reassured me, Mr. Pakman. You've reassured me that maybe we don't need a DSA after all. Let's finish this.
Republicans believed they were going to control the extremists. They were like, we got these people under control. The extremists took over the party. Democrats can still prevent that outcome, but we've got to get them to get things under control right now. I've said before, I've never been a Democrat. I don't care about the Democratic Party.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. You're like one of the biggest cheerleaders. You have Democrats on all the time. And sure, so do actual leftist channels like the Majority Report. But like, how can you sit if, like, what lane do you actually sit in? Like what lane does Richie Torres operate within the Democratic Party? Like when it comes to progressives, he's the one that you think of. Like, what does that say about you? It's just fucking vile.
Beyond who offers the better candidates, and usually it's Democrats over Republicans. But we've got to make sure that we don't allow that party, if it is the vessel, at least for now, to something better than what Republicans are offering, to be hijacked. This is about let's include, but not allow any extreme faction to take over.
He's doing so much in terms of just mental gymnastics right now.
And that is what I think makes the most sense. Can it be done reasonably and without self-inflicted damage between now and the midterms?
So
I don't know. I hope so. Thanks for.
So here's the thing. We got another clip that we are going to cover here from him in a second. But think about like what exactly he is. Throughout the whole clip, not once did he actually give any examples of DSA candidates actually championing these extreme ideas like abolishing prisons and abolishing the police and whatnot, and yet he acts as though that is representative of the entire organization. It's just blatant dishonesty. It's just fucking lazy, and he's using that similar to the way that the Republicans do in their propaganda to dismiss the entire DSA movement, the Democratic Socialists in general. Like, if that's not being a stooge for the Democratic Party, I don't know what the fuck is. Like, you are like, that is like as clear cut as like you can get in terms of saying who and who shouldn't be part of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party doesn't have any fucking Democratic Socialists in it. It's full of liberals. It's full of centrists, more accurately, and conservatives. Because, like, even the quote unquote liberals aren't actually liberal enough. They believe in illiberal things. Like Adam Smith when he went on Breaking Points to talk with Crystal Ball. That was something. So David Pakman's doing the job of the right by, chastising leftists and fear mongering about. He's just doing Red Scare shit. That's essentially what's going on here. I guess he doubled down on this because a lot of leftists are actually getting like really fucking irritated with him, which wouldn't be the first time. But he put out a video not long after that called "Am I a Right Wing Nut Now?" Let's see here.
Historical data. Well, I'm getting a ton of comments lately, questions saying, David, why aren't you a socialist? Why aren't you a communist? You often mention it, but what about explaining the why? And I've even gotten some suggestions that because I'm not a socialist or a communist, I must be some kind of right winger. I must have had some political 180 where now I am.
Well, here's the thing, and I kind of adhere to this mindset to an extent. Left wing means you are anti-capitalist. Right wing means you are in favor of capitalism to one extent or another. Same goes for the left, anti-capitalist to one extent or another. But that's basically like where the dividing line actually fucking is.
I am on the political right.
And like, if you're a leftist, obviously you've gotten to a point where you feel like capitalism cannot be redeemed. It's it is a failed system. It can't be saved, which is pretty much fucking true. Because like the biggest thing is if you are in favor of democracy, if you champion democracy, if you believe in democratic principles and values, you can't also be a capitalist. You can't also defend capitalism because capitalism is anti-democratic. Capitalism is at odds with democracy. capitalism and democracy are incompatible. Let's continue.
But the question is, why do I not subscribe to those ideologies? I think that's a legitimate question that I want to explore. Now, the real reason that I don't support those systems is very simple. I don't believe either system is the best way to maximize human well-being and to organize society. And as such, they are not systems that I can support. And I believe this looking at empirical historical data and in applying a socioeconomic analysis to these theories. I am a social democrat. As a reminder, social democrat and democratic socialist.
So here's the thing, right? With there's an extent to where, you know, in a perfect world, this can reign true to some extent, because the whole big reason right now that capitalism is out of fucking hand is its ability to buy influence. The more capital you accrue, the more the more power you obtain, the more influence that you can wield. That, like I said, is at odds with democracy. Like, the well-being of people is like people in general is one thing. Yeah, capitalism is definitely better than feudalism, but when you have an increased concentration of wealth and power sitting at the top at the expense of the bottom 95% of people, at what point do you sit and assess and go, oh, this actually isn't the best system for upward mobility and providing a better standard of living for all people? Because we see how that's not the case. We see how exorbitant wealth and income inequality and wealth inequality has led to, like, the end of capitalism. Everything is financialized now. Everything is gambling. It's to the point now where um people are going into debt just to buy their groceries. Like, they're making payments on, like, fucking Chipotle orders and shit. It's just a big old casino, and it's all fake money, being put aside to um finance basic goods. This hasn't happened before, and it's because of capitalism. So how can you sit there and say that?
Are two completely different things. Democratic socialists are socialists, whereas social democrats are not. As a social democrat, I support getting everybody health care, strong unions in support of labor.
Unless they call themselves a democratic socialist, right? If they believe in that, then, like,
affordable education that is of high quality, progressive taxation where the wealthiest are taxed the most, serious corporate regulation, and a very strong social safety net. I support those things. I also support markets, private businesses, private ownership of property, and the ability to make profit in private industry for a lot of goods and services.
I mean, you could still have that. You could still have a market and have it be socialist. But, like, should you have the ability to rig a market like what we have currently? It's like here's the thing. A lot of what he believes in is impossible to obtain without a massive stripping of wealth and power from the top 1%. Like, that, it's just that's irrefutable. Yeah, like, he thinks you can do that without championing some sort of socialist cause.
Services, there is no good reason to eliminate markets. We don't need government planners deciding, for example, which restaurants should open, which laptops should be manufactured, what kind of furniture should be manufactured and sold.
That is an outright fantasy. Literally, nobody is saying that. Nobody is even suggesting that.
It's completely fine to let companies compete there, let people start businesses and own them, test ideas, succeed and fail within the context of a market. I do believe that markets encourage innovation, but not because of the reason right-wingers say they do. Right-wingers love to say, if you don't have markets, nobody will ever work hard if they don't have the possibility of becoming a millionaire or a billionaire. I don't buy that stuff from the right. People are also motivated by a lot of other things, curiosity and purpose, recognition, solving problems. And we see publicly funded research produce extraordinary breakthroughs. But it is all.
Yes. I mean, I'm not opposed to anything he's saying right here, but he's trying to be so 50-50 on the political scale, and I don't buy it. I completely agree, River Peace. It's just it's so transparent.
Also true, and we should recognize.
And it's like I said at the beginning of the stream too, and apologies for like the first 20 minutes of bad audio and how frustrating that was. He's trying to have it both ways. It's like you can't be a champion of these progressive ideas, these social democratic ideals, but also give credence to Republican propaganda when it comes to talking about democratic socialists. Because they are not extremists. If like if they are championing causes that a majority of Americans support, they are by definition not extreme. Yet he wants to have it both ways. Like either you support these social democratic causes, or they're extreme causes. Like
that competition and financial rewards are also real motivators. And if you remove them across the entire economy, you reduce experimentation, you reduce innovation, and also, I would argue, efficiency. And so what social democracy recognizes.
Like no. You a lot of our innovation actually does come from public funding. You can still have that in place. That incentive is there. You don't have to have these the potential of innovation privatized. Like that's just fucking capitalist propaganda. Like you can absolutely still innovate as a country and have it all be done through public funding. Like look at what's happening right now. Like look at what the what kind of innovation are we seeing from the private sector right now? Fucking AI that nobody wants. BR77 something something. You're an idiot. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Hassan wannabe. Well, I actually take that as a compliment. Thank you. You can't sit there and be like, well, the private industry is actually going to be like, we need it in place because of innovation and whatnot. Nobody wants flock cameras. Nobody wants AI data centers. Like nobody wants their phone spying them at all times and having their fucking likeness and whatnot uploaded into an algorithm so that AI can replicate their fucking their entire being, or the art that they make, or the music that they make, or the content that they put on the internet. Nope. Like yet the actual government itself, if it was actually a lot more social democratic, as you say, it can actually rein these companies in and shit. And it's just like, in order to get to that place, we need energy, and the energy is behind the democratic socialists right now, and that's where the economic populism is. Yeah, I agree. River Peace. There's only one Hassan. Like I guess, dude. Hey, BR77777. You know, there's like dozens upon dozens of more like streamers and content creators that are on the left besides Hassan Piker, right? Like they're like countless figures. I'm not trying to be Hassan. Hassan is Hassan, but I guess thank you anyway. Weird ass comments.
Is social democracy being a form of regulated capitalism? Social democracy recognizes markets are really useful tools, but markets are not the moral authorities that the right wing believes them to be. I do also believe that some things should be removed.
Yeah, I'll say this. BR77. You should change your name, make it a little bit better to read. I have no issue with Hassan being number one. I actually defend Hassan more than the average leftist. So, and I actually watch him every now and then too. I'm not exactly sure what your issue is.
Removed from the profit motive because market failure would cause completely unacceptable harm that wealthy countries have no reason to accept. If you don't like the
Well, here's the thing about that too, David, is um, markets in countries that are a lot more rigid, like social democracies and like socialists, for example, they can bear the brunt of economic turmoil much better than capitalist countries because the wealth is a lot more divided amongst the population. It's not centered all at the top. Because if the top collapses, it's a what was how's the phrase go? Privatize the gains, socialize the losses. That's just like the boom bust cycle in a nutshell when it comes to capitalist nations. So
available TVs, you can wait to buy one. If you don't like the prices, you can wait for a sale or not buy one at all and hope that the market adjusts. That's TVs. If you need insulin, you can't wait for the market to become more compassionate or adjust so that you can afford your insulin. And so, in the areas of healthcare, education, infrastructure, law enforcement, military, and other essential services, we can't treat them like sneakers. We can't treat them like video games. Their purpose must be universal access.
yeah, no shit. I mean, has he read like any communist theory at all? Like, come on. It's become a meme in like actual commie socialist circles and whatnot. It's just like there's a difference between private property and public property, and there's obviously lines. Like you're not. It's it's just so fucking silly. Like the way that he sees the broader like far left and whatnot. It's just like this is not what communists actually like advocate for, or even the goddamn DSA for that matter. Shit.
Not let's extract the maximum possible profit from people who end up with nowhere else to go. That's the basic social democratic approach. You use markets where they improve people's lives, and you use public provision where markets predictably fail. So then, why am I not a socialist or a communist?
That's essentially a socialist argument, though. Like there is such thing as market socialism, like a democratized market. Like obviously, if people understand that um, adjusting the market in some way that's like harmful to the most amount of people, I guess it people will recognize that it takes education. But the problem is there's so much fucking propaganda that people actually do. People actually think that. Well, a good example would be like trickle down economics. That was very successful propaganda, and people still buy into that shit. It's like a rising tide lifts all boats. No, it's a fucking rocket ship taking off while you're just sitting there with the crumbs that fall from the sky. That it's fucking ridiculous.
Communists. Why won't I go further? Let's deal with each of them sort of one by one.
Now, um fucking what my comparisons, for lack of a better word, are kind of shitty, but bear with me.
now, I don't want to make this a definitional game.
Analogies is the word I'm looking for.
Where people, it's sort of like when you criticize Jordan Peterson and the Peterson people go, you're not criticizing exactly what he meant. Even if we have to have some kind of working definitions for socialism and communism. Socialism and communism, in turn, usually want to replace private ownership of major industries with worker, public, or state ownership, depending on whether we're talking about a socialist or a communist model. Now, of course, there are many different kinds of socialism. Democratic socialists are not communists, but I just don't see broad collective ownership as the best way to organize an economy. This is a question to a degree of opinion. Some in the audience might disagree. You might go, no.
Yeah, definitely disagree. That's for sure.
That is the best way to organize the economy. All right, well, we're having the conversation. I do support voluntary worker cooperatives Let people create them and finance them and demonstrate their advantages if that's what they want to do. Nobody should be prevented from running a business as a co-op, but nobody should be required to run a business as a co-op either. Requiring businesses to adopt collective ownership limits choices. It's authoritarian. It eliminates.
I guess I can agree with that. It's definitely a conversation worth having, but still, do you really want like should it be strictly hierarchical? Like it should be like if you were there should be like no interference, right? Like I think every single workplace should have the option to unionize. There should be zero uh, interference in that choice being made. But this is just getting into the weeds now. But
eliminates potentially useful forms
for the
of
sake of
competition.
continuity,
And I am an anti-authoritarian at my core. This is why I'm opposed to both right-wing and left-wing authoritarianism, whether it's Kim Jong-un or Putin or Maduro or whatever. I'm an anti-authoritarian. Now, if a privately owned restaurant and a worker-owned factory and a publicly owned utility each work well in their respective areas, I see no reason to force them into the same ownership model. Now, communism goes further. Communism usually wants state or government ownership of the businesses, the elimination of economic classes, and theoretically, depending on which flavor you're sort of talking about.
I think he's also operating from this this mindset that the idea of communism is actually obtainable or feasible to begin with. And as a leftist myself, I can just tell you right now it's not. It's absolutely it's not. I think communism really is like a pipe dream, a fantasy. I do think that it's why I'm a fucking socialist. I think a democratized marketplace is the it makes a whole hell of a lot more sense because you need markets. We live in a global economy. We need trade, and that shouldn't be dictated by mega corporations who basically buy and control world governments, but also uh, establishing communism globally is just like you might as well try herding cats, but the cats are dead.
An eventual stateless society. I just don't believe that eliminating private ownership and market forces throughout the economy would maximize well-being. And we've got a lot of examples from history of where it has destroyed well-being. It would create massive information problems. It weakens useful incentives, and it'll end up concentrating economic decisions in institutions that are
useful incentives. Listen, you do not need the profit motive to incentivize people to be productive or creative. You just don't. However, it's that profit motive that incentivizes CEOs and the ultra wealthy to maximize said profits at the expense of ordinary working people who routinely get screwed over. And that happens in a variety of ways, and it's all rooted in capitalism and the profit motive that drives those philosophies, those ideals, those kinds of people.
Often completely incapable of understanding local needs and individual preferences. And that's where we come back to the sort of fundamental authoritarianism of it. What happens under socialism when owners refuse to surrender their businesses to that socialized ownership model? And when people move their money, when voters elect leaders promising to restore private enterprise in a socialist system. If socialism can freely be voted out, I don't think it would last. And if you preserve socialism against public resistance, you can end up with property seizures, capital controls, restrictions on investment, limits on political opposition. It is a very serious authoritarian.
Okay, you're starting to sell authoritarianism on me because those actually sound like good things. Honestly, I'll fucking honestly, I'll even say it. Those are actually like good things. If it requires authoritarianism to achieve things like that for the betterment of society at large, fuck it. Fuck it. Honestly, like I mean, maybe property seizures go a little bit too far, but things like what do you say?
End up with property seizures, capital controls, restrictions on investment.
Yeah, like those are actually like good things.
limits on political opposition. It is a very serious
limits on political opposition is one thing. That's why I believe in campaign finance reform. If only Mr. Pakman here was a bit more forthright on his opposition to legalized bribery and Citizens United, as well as taking PAC money.
serious authoritarian danger. And that exists both in forcing a society into one of these models and in getting it to remain there. Communism just intensifies that. And reaching the supposed stateless society requires an extraordinarily powerful state, which sometimes seizes property, eliminates.
Again, I mean, sure, there are edgy, fucking, unironic communists that I would imagine are in his emails all the fucking time or in his DMs, whatever the fuck. And he needs to stop taking these people seriously. Because, like, more often than not, he tends to, like, air out his grievances, and they tend to do with the kind of messages and emails that he gets. And it's just not serious at all, and he needs to stop pretending that it is, because the only actual people who can influence things right now are the people who are winning these seat races, these Democratic seat races that are endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America. These are the people ultimately that he should focus on, and just stop conflating with communists, like the edgy fucking tankies or whoever the fuck is plaguing his emails and shit. Ultimately, I think that is like the crux of the issue here.
Eliminates the capitalist class, reorganizes production, and usually suppresses resistance to that change as well. And the state doesn't disappear. What we've seen historically is that you end up with this new ruling class made up of often corrupt, typically cronyistic and nepotistic party officials, bureaucrats, military leaders, security agencies. Now, I know that
You mean like what we have right now?
that some people will go, but David, those weren't real communism. I think that avoids sort of the central question.
Like, that's literally what we have right now, though.
Which is, why have attempts to implement communism so consistently produced this one-party rule filled with censorship and repression? So for me, one of the key tenets of leftism is opposing domination. That includes.
Listen, like, who is actually advocating unironically for communism the way you describe it? Like, you can't be serious, dude. You can't be falling for this shit.
Includes domination by corporations and billionaires on the one hand, and it also includes opposing domination by governments or political parties or the self-appointed revolutionaries who say, I speak for everybody. Social democracy, which I subscribe to, recognizes corporate power can become abusive and state power can become abusive, and both need democratic limits. So I want markets where markets work. I want public provision where markets fail or distort society. And I want democracy to protect people from both corporate and government power. Being not being
okay, then you need to oppose capitalism in order for democracy to actually protect from those powers,
a socialist,
especially like corporate power.
Not being a communist doesn't make one right wing. My goal is not to reach the furthest left position imaginable. My goal is
it actually well, I mean, yeah.
Let's support the system most likely to improve people's lives while preserving freedom. And that is why I have the beliefs I have of social democracy. Many examples around the world of social democracy successes. And that is how I have come to hold the beliefs that I hold. People can disagree. People can email me. People can leave a comment, info@davidpakman.com. But hopefully I've at least explained the origins or justification for my position. Thanks for watching. Check.
All right. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt in a couple different regards, which I already laid out. He is too wrapped up on the edgy folks that send him DMs and emails, the people who unironically support communism, and he thinks that applies a bit more broadly to more broadly to the left than actually exists. Not to mention, he. I lost my train of thought. I'll say this. I think him as a figurehead for the Democrats to some extent or another. The fact that he talks to them, if he can convince the Democrats that he talks to that his worldview is that his ideology generally is worth adapting and actually implementing, that's a net positive, regardless. Like what he describes as social democracy and like his actual beliefs, if the Democratic Party was actually in line with those beliefs and those ideals and whatnot, the world would be a fucking just so much better place, a much better place. Except that's just not the case. The problem is he has blind spots, and that has entirely to do with PAC money and campaign finance. He will not touch the issue of Israel because he kind of learned his lesson. I'll show you this. Not many people remember this, but Mr. Mike Figueredo, big friend of the channel, he shared this recently. Remember when David Pakman scolded Rashida Tlaib for daring to suggest Israel would ever bomb a hospital? Because he retweeted David Pakman from October 20th, 2023. Hamas appears to bomb their own hospital and Israel blamed. Mike says it's funny that he decided to not say anything about this again after hospital bombings became a regular thing. Yep. God, like what? Every fucking hospital in Gaza has been flattened now, I believe. Yeah, I don't know why this fucking browser won't load the videos on X, but whatever. Yeah, that'll always be a major blind spot for him. But yeah, I'll probably cut this stream up into two parts. The first one being the first video, and the second one being his second video. But thank you all for tuning in so much. I'm gonna go wine tasting briefly, and tune in Tuesday at 7. Around 7, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Me and Dieter will be doing the left coast as we do almost every single week. We've got a lot more to talk about there. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Not often I get to do these kind of streams on Sunday and whatnot. I'm glad I actually ended up working out. The beginning of the stream was a fucking nightmare because I tried to set up StreamYard in a different kind of browser, and it just was a other failure. Frustrating. But thank you all again for tuning in. I'll see you all very soon. You guys have a great week ahead of you and stay cool. It's going to be a hot one in some parts of the country. Have a good night.